Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a book and bake. If you haven't followed me on TikTok yet, I've done a couple book and bakes over there. Very quick paced, maybe not quick paced because I do like to talk. Some quicker paced videos of book and bakes that I've done. I've only done a couple, but they've been super duper fun, and I figured why not go ahead and just transition these over to YouTube because I've had... What is going on with the lighting? It just got super dark all of a sudden. I apologize. But I figured why not bring the book and bakes over to YouTube so that I have a little bit more time to discuss the book that I'm talking about while I bake my baked good. I love doing these so much. So if you want to go watch my first two book and bakes, head over to my TikTok, follow me there, because I'll still probably be posting some like behind the scenes videos of these book and bakes and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess we'll just go ahead and get started. The book I'm going to be talking about today while I make this baked good that I'm going to tell you guys about here in just a second is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. You guys, if you watched my last video that I posted, you would know that I loved this book so much. It was part of my reading vlog that I posted about, and I talk a lot more in depth while I'm reading this book in that vlog if you want to go watch it, but I will be discussing it while I bake what we're going to be baking today. I don't want to go too in depth about it just yet, but this is the book that we're going to be chatting about today. And the baked good that we're going to be making today are strawberry cream cheese danishes. They're going to be in the shape of little hearts, which I'm super excited about. If you know me, you know I love a cheese danish. What better way to eat a cheese danish than to make it in a like cutesy shape, a cute form? You know what I mean? That's what we're going to do. I have a recipe pulled up here on my laptop from the little blog of vegan.com. It's her strawberry cream cheese Danish recipe. I'm not making it vegan, so I am going to be switching it up a little bit with just some plain flour, dairy cream cheese, regular whole milk, the whole 9 yards of no vegan. In honor of filming this video, I did wear my cutesy little heart earrings just to go along with the vibes, as well as wearing my fun, I don't know if you guys can see those, my fun pink cowboy boots with the hearts on them. Had to break them out. Don't get to wear them very often, so that's what we're doing. First step is going to be wash the hands. I'll go ahead and list out all of the ingredients you're going to need. This is actually going to be a really simple recipe. Just based off of what I've read off of this blog here, you don't really need a whole lot, which is very exciting. The first thing you're gonna need is 1 to 2 sheets of puff pastry. I just got whatever my local Kroger had, but whatever puff pastry you wanna use will work. You'll also need 130 grams of cream cheese. I'm just gonna kind of go off of what I think 130 grams is, which I believe is gonna be just a little bit more than half of the cream cheese block. If I end up needing to add more, I can do that, but for now we'll just start off with about half a block or maybe a little bit more of cream cheese. You'll also need 15 grams of flour, whatever flour that you want to use according to this recipe. 15 grams of, I'm using powdered sugar. She calls for caster sugar, which is kind of in between a granulated and a powdered or confectioner sugar, but it's mainly just to mix into the cream cheese mixture that's going to go in the middle of the pastry, as well as a little bit to sprinkle on top, which I've also got in this little guy right here. You'll also need about 4 tablespoons of milk. I believe this is just for brushing the top of the pastry before you put it into the oven, so really whatever you want to use there. You could even do an egg wash, I would assume, but this one's calling for milk, so that's what we're going with. And then of course, some fresh strawberries. I went ahead and washed these. Haven't cut them yet. I figured I'd do that in this video while I'm talking about the book, but we've got some strawberries right there. I have a couple of heart-shaped cookie cutters here. You don't have to have these, but I already own them, number one. And number two, I'm going along with Once Upon a Broken Heart, you guys. Come on, heart themes. We're doing it. We're doing it. I also have a little like sifter thing that I may or may not use. That's just gonna hang out here. I'll decide whenever we get to that point, but we got that just in case. And then of course we've got our sheet pan over here ready to go with some parchment paper, not wax paper. I almost said wax paper. We've got parchment paper in there so that whenever we're ready to transfer the little pastries, we can just plop them right there. Okay, I think we're ready to go. We've got everything set up. I am so excited to talk to you guys about this book. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna preheat our oven to, Alexa, what is 180 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit?
180 degrees Celsius is 356 degrees Fahrenheit.
We'll do 350. So, I'm gonna preheat my oven to 350 degrees. Just gonna roll this out just a little bit, just to get all those wacky little creases out. Also, you guys, I bake for fun. I am not a professional by any means, so don't take anything that I say or do. Just take it with a grain of salt, legitimately, because I have no idea what I'm doing, okay? Okay, I've got my puff pastry ready, and then it says dust over some plain flour if the pastry is too sticky. I think we're good for now. We'll go ahead and use our bigger heart to cut out the sides of the pastries. So to start with the book, we have Evangeline Fox, she's a hopeless romantic. She is like most of us gals. She just wants to find somebody to love that's gonna love on her. You know what I mean? She has been raised seeing how her parents loved each other and the way that they talk about each other, talk about love. So of course she is a hopeless romantic, and she ends up falling in love with a boy named, I think it was Luke, I wanna say. I might be wrong on that. I might need to check the book. They spend a lovely amount of time together, and then she finds out that he has proposed to another woman. She thought that their whole relationship, that she was the only one for him, that there was no one else. Of course, that wasn't the case, which was very, very sad. I do feel really bad for Evangeline just because she is obviously like how all of us girls are. We want to find our Prince Charming. We don't want a guy falling for someone else, especially while they're in a relationship with us. That's not okay. I'm just cutting away, y'all, with this cookie cutter here. We're just gonna make a bunch. I'm gonna try and use as much of this puff pastry as I can. Also, you could make your own puff pastry, but we don't have time for all that. Not today, not today. I think she starts to kind of wrap her head around the fact that, like, not everyone's relationship is going to look like how her parents' relationship looked. Dang it, I didn't cut that one good enough. Oh well, that's okay. I have a feeling these are going to be so cute. Boop, 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 boop. I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with all the rest of this puff pastry. I feel so wasteful, but we'll set it to the side for now. And then the next step, it says, ooh, the oven's ready. Next step says to place a smaller size heart-shaped cookie cutter in the middle of the larger heart and press down gently. Don't want to cut it out, but make an indentation into the pastry. Just do like this. Boop. Just a quick little indentation. Okay, so basically Evangeline has found out that the boy that she had fallen in love with has chosen someone else, and you'll find out who that is if you read the book. Once she finds this out, she decides that she's going to take things into her own hands. She decides she's going to strike up a deal with the Prince of Hearts. By the way, you guys, there is another series that Stephanie Garber did come out with called Caraval, I think is how you pronounce it. I have not read Caraval, but I think it's kind of like a companion type of series that you can read to go along with the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I think most, or at least some of the characters are in the Caraval series and they carry over into the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I do want to read that series at some point, but now that I've read Once Upon a Broken Heart, I can't not just like finish this series first, because I need to read The Ballad of Never After, which is the second book in the series, and then The Curse for True Love, actually I think either just released or is about to release this month, which I am like so excited about. It's going to be a trilogy. I really need to read the second book. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Jax, who is the Prince of Hearts, is in the Caraval series, so I do know that he is a part of that series. He carries over into Once Upon a Broken Heart. Evangeline decides that she's gonna go and strike up a deal with Jax, the Prince of Hearts. I know, that's huge, because Jax is a fate, and most of the time you don't want to test the fates, you don't want to mess with them, you definitely don't want to make deals with them, because things just end up getting twisted and turned back around on you, typically not in your favor. She decides that she's gonna go sway him in this deal into preventing Luke from marrying this other woman. Okay, I've got the puff pastries ready to go. Now we just need to mix up the cream cheese for the middle. In a bowl, mix together the cream cheese, flour, and sugar. The mixture should be thick and creamy. Transfer the filling mixture into a piping bag and snip off the tip. If you don't have a piping bag, simply spoon the filling onto the pastry. Your girl found piping bags. Let's go ahead and set this aside while we make our cream cheese filling. Okay. We just need to mix up the cream cheese, flour, and sugar. I'm gonna start with about half, maybe a little bit more of the cream cheese block. Maybe like this right here. There's our room temp cream cheese. I don't know what just happened with the video, but it stopped for whatever reason. So I'm just mixing together this cream cheese, flour, and sugar. Ooh, girl, it's getting all globbed into the whisk. I've gone ahead and put the cream cheese mixture in a little piping bag here. And now I'm ready to pipe in the little miniature heart situations we got going on here. So I'm gonna try my best here. I am terrible at piping, so make a little boop. Like so. Like so, like that. So Evangeline ends up striking this deal with Jax. So Jax's request for stopping this wedding is basically that she has to kiss 3 different people of Jax's choosing whenever he says. This looks terrible, but we are going along with it. I may flatten the cream cheese out after I get it piped on here. The world that Evangeline lives in, though, is just so like magical, mystical. I want to go there. There is some kind of romantic tension and kind of buildup in this first book. So I am very excited to read the next book. There's anything from chipmunk-sized dragons to pink sugar bell cake and hobgoblin fudge. The description in the book alone about the world is just everything. I've got the cream cheese mixture piped out on the pastries, and now I'm gonna go ahead and chop up some of these strawberries really quick just to place on the top. I will say this is one of the few fantasy books that I've read, and I loved it so much. It's getting me even more into fantasy. I never thought I was a fantasy girly at all. Now that I've touched the fantasy world, especially this one, I don't know that I'll ever go back. Seriously, highly recommend if you aren't typically a fantasy person. I feel like this might change your mind just because it is kind of a more mystical fairy tale-esque, almost a little bit more fairy tale than like Alice in Wonderland. I've heard that the Caraval series is very much so like Alice in Wonderland vibes. So I would say that this series is kind of like that as well. I can see that, but a little bit more fairy tale-esque. Also, I would love to have a miniature dragon, a little chipmunk dragon, just to like hang out with me. In the story, it does say that a lot of the little dragons will like roast things for people at the markets. So like roasting ham and like apples, and they'll like sit there and like roast your food for you, which I think is like so cute. Could you imagine, instead of going to like a type of restaurant where you sit down and there's a chef that cooks the food in front of you, instead of that you have like a chipmunk-sized dragon, and it's like you just hold your fork up with your piece of meat on it and he just goes and roasts it for you, and you can just, that's just cute. That's cute. I don't want anyone even telling me any differently, because I won't believe you. Get these all cut up. Oh my God. Little broken hearts, OMG. My favorite character, though I do love Evangeline, who is the main character, Jax has got to be just my favorite, one of my favorite fictional characters. I just love his personality and the way that he jokes with Evangeline. I do know as well that a lot of people fall in love with him even more in the second book, so I'm very anxious to see kind of how he is in the second book. If you guys want like a little reading vlog on The Ballad of Never After, I am like totally down to do that because I will be reading that at some point here soon. Okay, brush some milk over the edges of the pastry hearts, sprinkle some sugar to help the pastry brown in the oven. I need to get a better not silicone pastry brush, but we're just gonna go with this. I'm pretty sure you could just use like an egg wash type of situation, but we're just going with what the recipe says. Overall, I did give the book 5 stars, or maybe it was 4.5. I don't remember. I'll have to check my Goodreads, but I absolutely ate the book up. I loved it so much. I would love to have the UK cover, but it is quite expensive. That's probably good enough on the milk. I think I'm gonna throw the powdered sugar in this little contraption right here. I have made a mess. I have made a mess. All right, I think these are ready to go in the oven. 10 to 15 minutes or until golden in color and flaky. They are so pretty. I apologize for the terrible lighting. It just got really overcast and dark, so I figured this terrible lighting would be better than just like the pitch black darkness. But I am so excited to try these cute little pastries. They turned out so adorable. Let's go ahead and try one of these guys. I'm so excited. I don't know which one I want to go with. We'll go with this one. The sound of that, I just wanted to see how crunchy it was. Oh my gosh. So good. I might eat the whole plate. Huge cheese Danish girl, and these are perfect. Like 2 bite. These aren't a 1 bite, but they're not a few bites. They're a 2 bite for sure. I think that completes this video for today. Thank you guys so much for watching this book and bake. I had so much fun filming this, baking this, talking about one of my new favorite books ever. If you guys like this video, please don't forget to subscribe, like the video of course, and comment, let me know if you guys have read the book. I will link the recipe and the book in the description of this video, but I think that's it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching again, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.